Hi students, welcome to session 4 of Things Around Us. Students, we know that there are millions of living things on our planet, and all living things depend on their surroundings for food, water and shelter, which are the three basic necessities of our life. So what is environment, students? Yes, all that surrounds living things and affects their growth and development is called their environment. Environ means to surround. So, we know that both living and non-living things form the environment. Thus, we can say that environment is made up of two components, that is, biotic and abiotic. So, we studied about biotic components in the previous session. Biotic, the word biotic means living. And in today's session, we are going to study about abiotic components. So students, I welcome you to Learn This Planet, and now we will study about abiotic components. Yes, the word abiotic means non-living, whereas the word biotic means living. This is the main difference between biotic and abiotic, living and non-living. So, what are the non-living or abiotic components of our environment? Yes, students, sunlight, air, water, soil and temperature are some examples of abiotic components of the environment. Whereas in biotic components, there are plants, animals, scavengers and decomposers. So now we are going to study about each of these abiotic components in detail. So let us start with the first abiotic component. Yes, light. Students, we are very familiar with this term, light. Light is very important for plants. Even plants use sunlight. Green plants specifically use sunlight to prepare their food, and plants in turn are a source of food for animals. Thus, we can say that the sun is the prime source of energy on earth. So remember that even though these abiotic components are themselves non-living, they do have an effect on living organisms, that is, the biotic components of the environment. And that is why these biotic components and abiotic components, they both form the environment. They both are important for the environment. Students, there are some points to be remembered that we should use sunlight as much as possible. We should avoid switching on lights during the day. If we want to study, we can place our study table next to the window and we can use natural light, that is sunlight, instead of lamp. So, basically, light is very important for plants as well as for us. That is why sun is called to be the prime source of energy on earth. So students, you can see this picture. This is a picture of forest floor. Now what we can see in this picture? Yes, there are large trees. Now what happens in the forest floor is that there now only few plants grow on the forest floor. Why? We know that most plants need sunlight for proper growth. So in dense forests, large trees block a lot of sunlight, and that is why few plants grow on the forest floor, as little sunlight is able to reach there. So what we can say? That only few plants grow on the forest floor, as little sunlight is able to reach there, because there are large trees in the dense forest, and because of this they block a lot of sunlight. So this is about dense forests and the forest floor. In the same way, there are plants in water bodies too. Similarly, in water bodies, lots of plants grow on the water surface. Can you see here? This one? Yes, this white flower, then this green ones. So, there are lots of plants which grow on the water surface. That means they receive more sunlight. But what is the twist over here? Yes, the twist is that with increasing depth in water bodies, remember students that light penetration decreases. Because of suspended materials. Suspended materials means what kind of materials? Yes, mud, sand, silt, etc. So what happens that with increasing depth, light penetration decreases because of these suspended particles like mud, sand and silt. Therefore, less plants grow on the floor of these water bodies. So, this is about light. Light is very important for plants. So where there is less sunlight, few plants only grow. And this concludes that light is very important for the growth of plants. So this was about one abiotic component. Let us move on to other abiotic component. Yes, temperature. Now students, what is temperature? Yes, it is a measure that tells us how hot or cold something is. Like our Earth. Earth is the only known planet that has a temperature suitable for life to exist. Even on Earth, the temperature is not uniform at all or all around. Now, if we go to another planet like Mars, Venus, or if you study about other planets, the other planets have so much poisonous gases and there is very little of oxygen in some of the planets, but not little, even negligible, which is very much not useful for us. So there are other gases like carbon dioxide and other harmful gases which are very much harmful for us. So we cannot survive on those planets. So Earth is the only known planet that has a temperature suitable for life to exist. But then too, the temperature is not uniform all around. So what is it? These are the pictures which shows the equator in the middle. This is the world map, and this red line shows the equator. It depicts the equator. So this is equator. The middle line is that of an equator. This is Tropic of Capricorn, and this dotted line is Tropic of Cancer. Even this is the world map, and this line is the equator. So, as we studied that even on Earth, temperature is not uniform at all. So, what is it? That it is much hotter near the equator, while places near the poles are very cold. So we can say that temperature affects the distribution of plants and animals around the earth. So we studied about some plants. Now we will study about some animals, with which we can see that with the change of temperature, what can be the change in the animals? How can temperature affect the distribution of animals around the planet? Yes, animals whose body temperature changes with the surrounding temperature. Animals whose body temperature changes with the surrounding temperature are called cold-blooded animals. So, we can say that temperature affects the body temperature of animals. For example, there are most reptiles, insects and amphibians which are considered to be cold-blooded animals. Reptiles, insects and amphibians. So here you can see the picture. This is a picture of a turtle and this is a picture of iguana. So these animals are those animals whose body temperature changes with the surrounding temperature, and they are called cold-blooded animals. So there are other animals too whose body temperature does not change with the surrounding temperature. So what are they termed as? Let us see. Yes, animals whose body temperature does not change with the surrounding temperature are called warm-blooded animals. For example, birds, and this is a picture of rhinoceros. So there are most mammals and birds which are considered to be warm-blooded animals. So the examples are most of the mammals and birds. They are warm-blooded animals. So students, there are some other mammals too, like polar bear. Polar bear is adapted to survive in the harsh temperatures of the Arctic. Now, what is the main reason of warm-blooded animals is that warm-blooded animals can survive in areas having extreme temperatures. Extreme temperatures means the areas that are too hot or too cold, such as deserts and the Arctic regions or the snow regions, where there is snow and where there is ice and ice. So what happens that these are the animals, warm-blooded animals, temperature, body temperature does not change with the surrounding temperature. And so we can say that warm-blooded animals can survive in areas having extreme temperature. So here, if we put cold-blooded animals, if we keep them they would have difficulty in surviving because their body temperature changes with the surrounding temperatures. That is why we can say that plants and animals have developed various ways to survive in regions having extreme temperatures. How amazing it is. So this was about temperature.